Okay, so I think Dragon Ball Super has a problem. Kind of, where are we going with this? What's the future of this series problem? Let's jump into it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on these social media platforms. Enjoy the video. So over the last couple days, really ever since I saw Dragon Ball Super Broly, I have been racking my brain trying to think of the best possible continuation of the Broly story in Dragon Ball Super. And this really comes from not only the way that movie ended, not giving away a whole lot of spoilers, but also a lot of the dialogue that I shared with the people that I talk to a lot within this community, especially a lot of my friends saying they'd seen the movie, or at least they knew the spoilers before they saw the movie, and they were all pretty excited of the idea that Broly was going to, at some point, join the main cast of characters. And is it a spoiler at this point? I mean, I might get into them, so please don't get mad at me. Click off this video if you haven't already seen Dragon Ball Super Broly, but if you're a fan of the show, you're a fan of the movies and just the characters and everything, I'm assuming that you have. But at the end of the movie, Broly doesn't die. In fact, Broly is left on his home planet outside of Vegeta, the one he actually grew up on, and he is now friends. Goku wants to train with him again in the future, and even though he is a good person, there's not a whole lot there when it comes to his character. He's still kind of a rage machine. I don't think it's really built up for the type of continuation that would justify bringing him back, either in the television show, the manga, or any future movie or anything else like that. Now, I'm not saying there's not a story there. In fact, I'm working on an idea, couple of ideas right now where I feel like he could come back and be a main component. But this video is more about the thing that I started thinking about every time I started thinking about Broly coming back to the fold of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super's future. Because Dragon Ball Super was placed in the 10-year time skip, not just the entirety of Dragon Ball Super, but also this Dragon Ball Super Broly movie timeline canon now is placed in between the 10-year time skip at the end of Dragon Ball Z and the legitimate end of Dragon Ball Z, right? Where Goku meets up with Oob, the reincarnation of Kid Buu, and he decides to train Oob for the future of the series, or just to be the next savior of the Earth, because at that point, Goten and Trunks and Gohan, everybody had really kind of dropped off, and Goku and Vegeta can't last forever. And while I was thinking about this, I started realizing that Broly added just another layer of complication to all of this. You have this character who, rage machine, uncontrollable destruction, going from place to place, planet to planet, or just person to person, just taking them out, and also has a good side to him. And that's pretty much the exact same character arc of Kid Buu and now Oob as it is with Broly. These characters cannot coexist in the same screen space because they essentially are going to have the exact same story and all of the same story beats. And I'm not sure because of that they can coexist in the same series. It would get repetitive and one would eventually get overshadowed for the other. Maybe they don't get to that point because they seem to be avoiding Oob. I imagine with Broly's popularity, if they're going to bring back either of these characters, it's going to be Broly and they're going to focus on that story. You can use Broly, his rage-filled transformations and power-ups, and also his humility and him trying to control it and wanting to control it and get the best out of his power to become a rival or at least a sparring partner with Goku would be a good catalyst for Goku deciding that he's going to train Oob, because it's just going to be another version of that entity. But as I've said multiple times throughout Dragon Ball Super's run, that was one of the best things about Frieza turning into Golden Frieza. It shows that there's a massive amount of potential for these beings that never had to try for their strength. The same thing with Cell probably, and also the same thing with Kid Oob. Kid Oob being so strong, I mean miles and miles away from Final Form Frieza, and look how far Frieza's gone since he was reintroduced in Dragon Ball Super. Oob always made a lot of sense to me. Broly being the catalyst for Goku thinking he can train Oob and Oob was going to get stronger doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you put it into context with Frieza turning into Golden Frieza and also showcasing power at least equal, if not stronger than Goku and Vegeta even at this point in the series. So I'm kind of confused, and I'm going to throw this out to everyone who's listening. What can you do with Broly? What can you do with Broly that you can't do with Oob, and wouldn't one of them have to sit out a little bit longer? And if that's true, if they're going to keep focusing on Broly, then it looks like we're never going to get to the ending of Dragon Ball Z with Goku versus Oob, and they're just going to stay in this 10-year time skip no matter how long it takes and how ridiculous it seems that not enough time has passed at this point because of all the inconsistencies throughout the show or movies or manga or anywhere else that they're going to throw that in there. And that isn't even to mention that they told us that that 10-year time skip was a relatively peaceful time, which it kind of has been, which is weird. We've had a couple tournaments, we've had a couple of maybe threats that were like weekend excursions, weekend warrior situations for Goku and Vegeta, so it wasn't as dire or threatening as anything in Dragon Ball Z, but that kind of puts a little bit of a damper on not only the strides Goku and Vegeta have made, but also everything thrown at us throughout Dragon Ball Super. You know what? I'm just kind of rambling at this point. The idea here is Broly and Oob have the same character arc. They're rage monsters, they have so much more power and potential than could possibly be explored or Goku and Vegeta could possibly ever reach on their own, at least at this point, but they're also sympathetic characters that can really delve into their destructive habits and deal with it in a very emotional way that would serve as a really good tie for any future stories that they do with them. I just think that Oob, being a non-Saiyan, having Majin Buu to the sideline, who he would obviously have some kind of interaction with like they did in Dragon Ball GT, hopefully something a little better than what they did in Dragon Ball GT, but still having Majin Buu to the side, kind of a part of him, but also dealing as a lot of different Dragon Ball communities and fans have dealt with in the past. How is he going to realize that he was Kid Buu? And is he going to have any memory of his past self? How is he going to deal with that and rectify everything that he did? And what is his potential future? As a lot of people, myself included, have speculated maybe he's going to be the replacement for Beerus sometime down the line. Oob has always been a much more interesting character than Broly, but they cannot exist in the same space. They have too many similarities and they would stomp all over each other. And we've already seen throughout Dragon Ball that the story does not handle multiple different characters and a lot of different things other than fighting or emotional stories very well. So what are your thoughts on this, guys? Does Dragon Ball Super have a future problem when it comes to Broly and Oob? How will they utilize these characters, and which one of them is going to fall by the wayside sometime down the line? Or does this mean that we're never going to get to the very end of Dragon Ball Z and we're just going to stick in that 10-year time skip? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.